Hello, my lovely friend. My name is Juliana Gauthier, the Unbroken Woman. Do you want to have better relationships, feel emotionally stronger, and have improved mental well-being? When I think back to how I was before I started my self-love journey, my heart truly aches for the way that I suffered, the depth of my emotional suffering, the lack of love and respect that I treated myself with. Once I started learning self-love and loving and nurturing myself, there was a real shift that happened for me. I truly believe that we are where we're supposed to be, and I trust that that's where I was along my self-love journey, and that was the path that I was supposed to take. But once you make that shift, you'll realize that having self-love for yourself and loving and respect for yourself can make all the difference. So I'm going to talk to you about what self-love actually is and why it's so crucial for your well-being. So first off, self-love is not selfish. That's a common misunderstanding and mistake that people made. Self-love is about taking care of yourself. Selfish is when you are totally absorbed with yourself and constantly putting yourself before others. But self-love is really about putting your well-being first. It's about having more compassion and appreciation for yourself. It's about being kind, treating yourself with love and respect. It's about having a deep, unconditional appreciation for yourself. And when I say unconditional, I mean, it's not based on, how you look that day or how good your hair is or if you like your clothes or how much weight you lost or gained or whatever. It's more than that. It's about appreciating and loving yourself unconditionally for the days that your hair does look bad, for the days that you do feel bad and you just can't explain why, for the days that maybe you did say something that you shouldn't have said, for the days that you don't look exactly the way that you want to, or you've put on a couple more pounds than you actually are happy with. It's unconditionally accepting yourself. It's recognizing your own worth and, again, treating yourself with kindness and respect. It's about setting healthy boundaries, saying no, understanding what your needs are so that you can say no when it's appropriate, not always saying yes because you're afraid people are going to be mad at you or you think it's something that you should be doing. Knowing what your boundaries are based on your own needs and wants really helps you to hone in on when you can say no. Some things are required, I get that. We can't say no to everything, but based on what your needs are, maybe for that day, that week, that moment, allowing yourself those boundaries to say no when it's appropriate. And changing your self-talk. This is a big one for me. I mentioned it in a couple of my other videos. It's really important to get rid of that negative self-talk and that real inner critic that you have. It's human nature for us to go negative. So of course, there's going to be negative thoughts that pop up, but they are just thoughts. You can catch them and become aware of them and change them to something more positive and encouraging. Again, it doesn't have to be some fluffy, over-the-top, positive, statement that just doesn't sound even believable, but it can be more encouraging and more supportive. Again, if you think about the way that you would talk to a friend or a loved one or a child, stick along those lines in the same way that you talk to yourself. Forgive yourself. Forgiving yourself is a big part of self-love. Now, everybody makes mistakes. It's just human. We're all flawed. We all say things we regret. We do things we regret. Forgiving yourself is about letting go of that. It's not about saying it's okay that I did that. It's okay that I said that if it was something that was, wrong or hurtful to someone. It's just about accepting that it happened. It did happen. It might not be okay that it happened, but it did happen and you can't change it. That's the big thing. You need to let go of it because it is in the past and no hope for it changing is going to change it. So forgiveness is also about letting go of the hope that whatever happened can be different. It just can't. It's in the past. It can't be changed. Use it as an opportunity going forward to know, what can I do better? how can I be better? What can I change so that that doesn't happen again, or I don't get in that scenario again? Forgiveness is a big part of self-love. Also having gratitude and appreciation for who you are and your good qualities, things that you love about yourself. There are good things about yourself. There are things to love. People love you. They love you for who you are, and they love you for your personality, for your good traits and characteristics. So appreciate those things about yourself and recognize them. Allow for personal growth and things in your life that support development. We are put on this earth to grow and to enrich our minds and live a full life. There's that old saying, if you're not growing, you're dying. Invest in yourself and in things that help enrich your life and help support you in your growth along your way. Self-love is also about having resilience. Listen, challenges and setbacks are going to happen. We all know that. But when you have a strong sense of self-love, you have the inner strength to move on and move forward and allow yourself some grace in those moments. Now, if any of this sounds familiar, it's because it is. You already do these things with the people that you love, right? You're kind and compassionate and loving and supportive to them. You help them build healthy habits. Let's say, for example, if it's a child, right, you encourage them to take care of themselves and make some healthy habits and healthy choices. We celebrate successes of the people that we love and the people that we care about, no matter how big or small. We recognize them and we celebrate them. So self-love is really about just turning that same behavior that you are already familiar with, that you already do for everybody else in your life that you love, turning that towards yourself and behaving the same way and giving yourself the same sort of respect and value and kindness and love that you give everybody else in your life that you love. When I was first learning about self-love back in my early 20s, I had hit rock bottom. If you're not familiar with my story, my best friend at the time and I went through a traumatic event together. And after losing her friendship, I literally ran away from my feelings for the next 2 years. I moved 11 times in 2 years. So after some therapy and immersing myself in just learning how to love and nurture myself, I began to change some of my behavior and some habits, and I really started with the basics. I mean, the basics. I made sure that I brushed my teeth when I went to bed. I made sure I wore a coat when when it was going to be cold. If it was going to be cold outside or raining, I was prepared with whatever I needed. I packed myself a healthy lunch every day and made sure that I ate a proper breakfast, and I did all the parenting things, I guess you could say. I treated myself as if I were taking care of a child. Now, this may sound extreme and it may sound, totally basic to do these things, but for me, that's where I really needed to start. I needed to just physically start loving myself and nurturing myself like I was a child. I became my own parent, and the comfort of that, the routine of the things that I was doing regularly really helped build up some safety for me and really helped me learn to believe in myself and to know that I could rely on myself. Like, I really could take care of myself. It relieved a lot of my emotional suffering because I started to be there for myself. I was showing up for myself, and it made a really big difference. It started me down the path of understanding that nurturing and taking care of myself wasn't selfish. It was really necessary because I was not able to show up for anybody in my life, including myself, when I wasn't taking care of myself. So you will really notice the difference in the benefits of self-love once you start loving and nurturing yourself and creating your own routines for yourself. So let's squash some of those misconceptions about self-love. Again, it is not selfish. Self-love really is about putting your well-being first versus constantly putting yourself in front of others. When you think about what is the oxygen when you're on an airplane, right? And they'll tell you, the flight attendants, to when the oxygen mask drops, if you're a parent or you're taking care of someone, a loved one on the plane with you, you get the oxygen first and then you administer it to your loved one. This is the same sort of analogy. Like, I know this about myself when I'm totally stressed out overwhelmed, overextended, overcommitted. I am no good to anybody. I'm frustrated, I get angry, I'm resentful. Those are not acts of self-love. Setting some boundaries so I don't become that way is an act of self-love. Also, people think that self-love is narcissistic. Self-love is exactly the opposite. Again, narcissism is based on being self-absorbed, feeding your ego, needing attention so that it strokes your ego. Self-love is really about taking care of your well-being and your own needs so that you can take care of others. Self-love is an appreciation for yourself so that you can respect and value the other relationships that you have in your life. Complacency is also another misunderstanding of self-love. Some people think that if you engage in self-love, that you're just complacent, you're happy where you are and you don't need to make any changes. But it's really the opposite of that. Self-love is it's about personal growth and development and having awareness to be able to change your behaviors. So it's like the opposite of being complacent. Indulging in every behavior or impulse is also sometimes a misconception of self-love, where again, it's the opposite of that. Self-love is about having some self-discipline and about making choices and decisions that are in the best interest of your health and your well-being versus just indulging in every little impulse that might make you happy. It really is about delaying gratification too. And some people would say self-love is about arrogance and superiority. But when in fact, self-love is about accepting your own flaws, not feeling like you're better or worse than anybody else. It's important to point out these differences so that when you start to practice self-love, that you don't feel like you're doing something wrong. You're doing something for your own health and your well-being that's really going to help you show up differently and better for the people in your life and the people that you love. And some of those benefits are you're going to have better relationships. Your interactions with people are going to improve. You're going to be able to set some healthy boundaries. Again, back to being able to say no because you understand the value of your time. You understand that you're going to overextend yourself or overcommit yourself and it's going to cause maybe resentments or something down the line. Really being able to set some boundaries for yourself is going to make a big difference. You start to understand your value so you won't be mistreated or disrespected. You learn to prioritize your self-care, to take care of yourself, make healthy choices, make healthy decisions, and avoid self-destructive behaviors. You learn to make choices based on your values and what's important to you so that you can start to stand up for yourself. You break the generational patterns of self-neglect, self-destructive behaviors. This is a big one for me also. When I had my daughter, I again experienced another shift. For me, I did not want her to experience the self-induced suffering that I had when I was growing up. And I really, really wanted to model strong, loving behavior towards myself so that she would learn that and feel that for herself and just grow up with a strong sense of self-acceptance and self-worth. So modeling that behavior for her became the most important thing. Even if I didn't feel that way that day or that week, I wouldn't talk badly about myself in front of her. I would never tell myself that I looked fat or that I was ugly or didn't feel pretty that day or that I hated my hair. I wouldn't put myself down in front of her at all. I might have thought those things in my head, but I was not verbalizing that in front of her. And that really helped to change my life. And I tell my daughter, honestly, she is the best thing that ever happened to me. So there's that. So self-love will help you accept yourself for who you are and help you live with more inner peace and contentment. If you like this video and you like these tips, go ahead and subscribe and get my free 7-day self-love challenge at www.theunbrokenwoman.com/self-love. And I'll see you next time.